What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman for Awesemo.com, and I am back with a special combined DraftKings plus FanDuel edition of my MMA DFS Contenders. We've got Jeff Neal and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson in the main event tonight. So hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. I'll give you sim results later on today at Josh Engleman, so follow me on Twitter. And then let me know in the comments section, who are your favorite options on both sites tonight? I've got the whole top 10 on the screen, but we're only going over the top 5. So Pereira, Thompson, Pettis, Hardy, Eubanks, you're all on the outside looking in. Who are my top 5 fighters for this card? It's time to find out. Say hi to my dogs. Coming in at number 5, we've got Jimmy Flick, and I get to keep all the information I wrote up last week or 2 weeks ago or whenever it was that this fight was supposed to happen. Flick, 8,700 on DraftKings, $17 on FanDuel. He's actually my number 4 on DK, my number 6 overall on FanDuel. Combined, that gets him to 5. Shows up in the optimal lineup 34% of the time on DK, 7% of the time he's in the MVP spot on FanDuel, 26% of the time just in the utility. He's won 3 straight. This is his UFC debut. Picked up a submission win on Dana White's Contender Series against Nate Smith in September of this year. He's plus 125 to win this fight by submission. Now, I wrote this up 2 weeks ago when he was on the same card with OSP. Evidently, Flick's favorite sub is the Von Flue choke. Now he doesn't have to compete with OSP to get a Von Flue. Maybe he could pick it up here, but for now, that makes him my number 5 overall fighter. Now at number 4, we're flip-flopping spots. He's 6th on DK, 4th on FanDuel. It's Antonio Arroyo, 8,900 on DK, just $16 on FanDuel. That price tag, really nice. 31% of the time he's in the optimal on DraftKings. He's 7% in the MVP on FanDuel, 32% in the utility. Looking really good there. He's going to win this fight, you would think, but we don't really know how it's going to come. He's plus 380 to win by TKO, plus 330 to win by sub. He actually lost his last fight to Andre Muniz back in November of 2019. He's taking on Deron Winn, who's 1-2 in the UFC, back-to-back losses to Gerald Meerschaert, Darren Stewart. The most interesting piece of this fight is the height disparity. Arroyo is 6'3". Deron Winn is 5'6". These guys are going to look hilariously different inside the cage. I think Arroyo's striking gets there, just has to keep Winn off of him. Winn's wrestling fantastic. I think Arroyo keeps this on the feet. I think he can get to a finish, whether that is inside the distance from strikes or just simply putting it on him from strikes. That's what gets Arroyo to number 4. Now at number 3, I'm going to the main event, but I want Jeff Neal, 8,400 on DraftKings. Love it. $19 on FanDuel. A little expensive. That's enough to put him 2nd on DK and 5th on FanDuel. Shows up in the optimal on DraftKings 39% of the time. 6% in the MVP on FanDuel, 27% at utility. He's 5-0 in the UFC, plus another win on the Dana White Contender Series. Coming off back-to-back finishes of Nico Price and Mike Perry, although he hasn't been in the cage for a while. Actually lost to Kevin Holland back in 2017. That's a fight I'd like to see again. Anyway, been out of the cage for a year. He's plus 185 to win this fight by TKO. I would love to see him finish Wonderboy. This is going to be a contest between volume and defense. I think Neal's going to be throwing a ton of strikes. We all know that Stephen Wonderboy Thompson does not get hit all that often. Very, very low significant strikes defended number. I'm going to lean on Neal here. I think he's just the better athlete. I think he's got the bigger future. And specifically on DraftKings at 8,400, I love the upside in his price. This is a pretty loaded card. We've got 12 fights. The spread is pretty wild. We don't have any real extremes in public ownership. I like hitching my wagon to someone like Neal in a main event. You get the extra 2 rounds potentially. The volume can be there. That's why Neal gets to 2 on DraftKings and 3 overall. Number 2, coming in short notice, but still enough to get him almost to the number 1 spot. That's Christos Diago, 9,300 on DraftKings, $21 on FanDuel. He's showing up in the optimal on DK 32% of the time. That's only enough to get him to 5th spot. He's sort of the inverse of Neal. Does show up 2nd on FanDuel, though. 8% in the MVP spot, 33% in the utility. He's taken on Carlton minus 0-1 in the UFC. Also has a loss to Rick Story in PFL. Now, Diago's dropped his last fight, which was back in August of 2019 against Ricard Close. He's actually been in there with Charles Oliveira, which has obviously been, he's been on a bit of a run. Gilbert Burns also on a bit of a run. Now, Giagos lost both of those fights by subs. No shame in that. Oliveira and Burns are incredible on the ground. Don't get the sense we're going to see the same thing here. Giagos is plus 110 to win this fight inside a distance. I like him on DraftKings, and he gets there a lot. That's why he's fifth. But 9,300 is a really big price tag on this particular fight card. $21 on FanDuel, however, much more affordable in my opinion. So if you're trying to split the difference, if you're trying to split your outlay to some of these fighters across two sites, I would definitely go to a little bit more Giagos on FanDuel. I think the site, the price, the style all fit him a little bit better there. Coming in at number one, both on DK and at FanDuel, it's a no-brainer for me. Tafon Nchikwi, that's really difficult to say. I do my best, I'm trying, but I think I pretty much got it. 9,400 on DraftKings, so you're paying the full freight, but he shows up in the optimal 39% of the time. Yeah, that's more than both guys in the main event. Be aware of that. $23 on FanDuel. That's enough to put him in the MVP spot 13% of the time, puts him in the utility spot 34% of the time. We're talking about close to 50-50 shot that you're going to need him on FanDuel. He's minus 165 to win this fight by TKO. That's the best on the card. He's 3-0 as an amateur. He's 4-0 professionally, coming off a head kick KO back in September on Dana White's Contender Series. I do need to put this out there. Jamie Pickett, his opponent, fights out of Wilmington, North Carolina, the place that I've called my home for the past 11 years. This is going to be a tough one. I assume I'm going to have quite a few lineups. Well, at least I hope I have quite a few lineups that are in play as we get to this fight. I'm sorry, Jamie Pickett. I want to represent the hometown guy, but I can't do it. I'm fighting with my wallet, and if I'm doing that, I'm taking my number one guy on both sites. Alrighty, guys, that will do it. Those are my MMA contenders, my favorites, my top 5 plays for tonight's slate. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you know when everything goes live. I'll be in Premium Slack before this card locks at 4 p.m., I believe. We've got Live Before Lock coming up at 2:30. Jason Floyd, Pete the Heat Rogers. So check that out. It's going to be a short life on this video. So watch it now. Go watch those guys on Live Before Lock and then win some money and watch some UFC. Good luck tonight, guys. I'll talk to you again in 2021 for the next UFC card.